Have you heard about Elon Musk's school? It's called Astra. Started in 2014. Elon Musk came to one of the teacher of his children and asked them if he would start a school that would be the greatest, And with that challenge, the teacher accepted, and they co-founded the business. The tuition is $30,000 a year. There's like 50 children's and or no, there was like four teachers for nine children. So you can already see here that the ratio of teacher to children is almost the same. And it's quite an innovative school. So if you check it up, they have their own cryptocurrency, their own currency, let's call it that way, in at the school. So they start their own project. They can trade. One student can sell the cookies to another that can teach them soccer, for example. And they don't have clear curriculum, for example. They ask the why behind the thing. I mean, I've always asked the why as a student. Why history? Why math? Why do I have to learn this thing? And it's just better school. So they pivoted to an online model since COVID, because since that thing hit, it became a bit more tricky, and that led to synthesis. Synthesis is kind of this online model, and it gives you challenges like this one, for example, like your this team in Arctic. It's also related to environment very much, so kind of a reflection of Elon's belief. So you're a corporation, and how to not pollute that lake. So they give these challenges to students. Students, they can just think more, think outside the box, and solve problems together, Minecraft style, like video game style. And their conversation becomes better and larger than just talking, about killing zombies in video games, because there's no this is kind of missing from video games. It's not related to real life. It's just a way for most people to disconnect. And as we know, children are pretty much addicted to that and very susceptible to addiction in video games. And it would be nice to kind of relate it to the real life. So parents say that, for example, their children's, they have different discussions at the dining table, and now they talk about the world and the environment and the future, which will be much different from today. Will be AI, will be space missions, and so forth. And obviously, the school is very much a reflection of Elon's weird thesis sometimes. So you'll get space launch and so forth. So this is synthesis. This is the synthesis or whatever. 127 reservation and 180 per month. It's way cheaper than the 30K per year, but it's also different. And that's definitely what I would send my children to. But even better, it's been a fascinating topic to me, education, the past couple of years. As some of you might know, I had a very hard experience with the system myself. I ended up outside of the class 50% of the time, just because I couldn't stand listening to a teacher that was teaching me things without really telling me why. And it's just just the ratio, one teacher for 30 students. Does that mean that like the students is 30 times less important than a teacher? Just total BS. It's just systematized, and it's good to create normal folks. But I was never normal. And I got a terrible experience with that. High school was not better, even worse, as I was going through my teenage years. So it's a very strong and powerful mission of mine to create something better. So when I'll have my children's in a year or two or three, my first ones, because when the machine starts, it won't stop. We'll adopt as well and make another video about that pretty soon. But I'll start my own school, and my own full system. Yesterday, I wrote a post about country founding. So it's like buying an island, for example, or just reuniting a community. And I'm just reinventing the whole societal structure as a whole. I can do better. That's my arrogance, but it's also my gift, to think that I can do better, just like Elon did here. And I mean, it's this one's is not. I mean, building a country, it is ambitious, it is hard. The roads and to make everyone happy and so forth. I mean, if you start by reuniting common folks under one umbrella, it makes it easier, but still very hard challenge. But the school doesn't take a genius, to observe that the system is totally broken and to think about something better. Related to my last point about reuniting common people, the only thing that got me a bit irritated with Ad Astra is two things, but more the first than the second. First, the tuition, 30K, and then the second criteria is for gifted children's. So need to be careful here of how we deduct that a children is gifted. Um, but I mean, yeah, this is a very strong ethical question because, well, first thing first, ethics apart, can if this children is gifted because they had this background, should they be accepted via this children that is not yet gifted but has this huge potential, evaluated on some criteria, and then only accepting the gifted, yeah, it's enough to make someone uncomfortable. But unfortunately, or whatever that is, because it could be fortunate for other people, this is the future, where better people kind of segment themselves. People that want more, I think they should segment for ambition and where do you want to go, because maybe, I mean, I was somewhat gifted in primary school. Not, I was probably like top five, or yeah, top 5% and top five, because we weren't a lot of children in my school. We're probably 60, or yeah, 60 in total, and in the same age. So yeah, top five, top 10, something like that. Anyway, but I have always been ambitious, and also note that I was spending most of my time outside the class, so pretty good. And I was never, this very studious, good kind of boy. I was very rebellious. So evaluate this potential, and for the tuition, obviously, we could help some students with the tuition. And my goal would, I mean, I'm no socialist, like, hey, let's go, everyone come in, no, because some people, they just don't want to grow, and you cannot change someone that does not want to grow. But I want, for everyone that has some degree of ambition and has a track record for growth, if I accept them in the school and they keep on growing and so forth, to get a shot, to get a shot. And obviously that would be the part of the program that would be paid. And for the rest, everything that I can make free and accessible and open source, I do it. And anyone that would have a shot on the online games that we put, and challenges and so forth, could be integrated in the school. I In no way do I want to put gates to the school, because I've been rejected to some universities myself, and I don't want people to feel that. And yeah, the evaluation is kind of complex here. That's the point, because yeah, back in the days I was rejected to law schools with an average of 85%, 84% actually. And if you would compare an apple with an apple, so compare me with an 85% or an 87%, I would have made a way better lawyer than these folks. Well, better lawyer, and probably I would have owned my own firm and more my law firm, and I would have a better impact than that person. So for that reason, I would have. They should have accepted me, for example. So it's kind of tough to evaluate that. But that being said, I'm kind of ranting here and babbling even, but at Astra, which became Astra Nova in 2020, it's a very interesting concept. It's certainly going to be on my radar in the next 2 to 3 years. I think I can make better. There's way brighter future to education. Not to say that it's been awful, the education system, and that people have done a bad job, but yeah, like I can definitely do something better, and so can a bunch of entrepreneurs. And obviously, my school would be very much entrepreneurial. We would have our own currency. We would trade services. We would, it's very much my philosophy. People would try out experiments and see what works, what doesn't work. They would yeah, there will be a little city, they would be trading stuff with one another. They would be getting funding if the project is good. It would be practice, practice, practice. They would get in the market as soon as possible. No fucking theory bullshit, of like, hey, maybe do this, do that. No, there would be a lot of trial and errors, and they would learn from that. And they would get the theory, of course. They would get coaching, but you get in the market as soon as possible. And the last thing I want to say in that video is that these early years, they forge someone, they shape the brains, and they also shape the connections. Some friends that I made early on in life, it's still hard today's day to let them go. We had lots of good time, but unfortunately we cannot mix too much together in the business sense of things, because yeah, they're just not on my level right now. And basically, if your children went to a gifted school, then yeah, they will have a very favorable circle of friends. But just think of Harvard dudes, they have an epic network. They know the CEOs of Fortune 500 and so forth. They're very successful people, and that network um, follows you throughout your life. And I think that the jackpot would be that if you build your network very early at an early age, you'd get more years in the market. You'd achieve financial independence as quick as possible, which is a top priority. You achieve that through entrepreneurship, in my opinion. Obviously, we teach about mindfulness and all of these topics that they don't teach at school. Breeding, there would be a shit ton of sport. Another thing that surprised me in Elon's business was that there wasn't much sport. I heard, yeah, Elon, I mean, he's kind of fat, and not in great shape. So I have a lot of sport, lots of competition. I even have them invent new sports, new games. Children's with too much energy, they need to put that out. And it wasn't fucking rocket science. And the back in my days, I was labeled ADHD, aka genius, and I just had too much energy. It's not rocket science. I eat two Nutella toast before coming to school. That energy needs to go out at some point, you know. So what do? You have a kid do sport. The kid does sport. He comes back tired in the classroom, and yeah, then he can do some brain work. So, and yeah, the work is the keyword here, not study or do exams or whatever. No, fucking enter the market and get you done. And for people that will say that this is child slavery or whatever, or like getting a child to do work while he's innocent and he should have fun. No, it's just delaying the obvious. The obvious is that the children will become adults at 21, 22. They will struggle. They will want to get out of the nest. And the sooner you can have them get out of the nest, the better. So yeah, I see a future in which I do business with little squeaky voices. And I asked, how old are you? And the little voice answers, I'm 8. I'm like, dude, you're a fucking genius. And yeah, I'll swear in front of that little guy, because that's what's up in the market. Treat them as adults. And adults is a big keyword. I'm still a children, even I'm 28 years old right now. Like, people should always stay childs inside themselves. But the problem is that when we're creating zombies right now that are addicted to video games, that don't know really how to think clearly, because they're living in their own little metaverse. And this is fine, because in the future there will be like separate communities of people thinking likewise with one another. But right now we live in a society as one. We're part of a democracy, and yet these BS opinions, they kind of bring more noise to the conversation and pollute the thinking. We're seeing that in millennials a lot. And I mean, every generation are different in some shape and form, but I cannot see how a kid that has his face stuck in an iPhone playing Candy Crush will be useful to society. I mean, I'm grateful that I got out of the World of Warcraft, Call of Duty type of mindset. And yeah, I can try to appease or ease my pain of wasting all my life back in these days, by saying that I learned English and trade skills on World of Warcraft, and even teamwork. But yeah, like, truth is, I could have spent this life in other ways. I could have reached higher goals in life and being a functional adult like earlier. If I would have learned meditation, could have been a millionaire by 18. Millionaires, that is like a weird keyword, but like having my financial independence by then, um, and yeah, once you have that independence, you can think freely, you can make a real impact on society. It shouldn't be that hard to reach financial independence, which is a concept that will last probably for 100, 250 years, because I don't think it will become an issue after that with like AGI and so forth. But yeah, lots of thing to unfold here. But have you thought yourself to launch your own school? For me, it comes as personal pain that I don't want my childrens to go through. So that's the motivator, and I think that it's also essential to educate the younger generations that will be certainly adding lots of value in the future. So, have you thought of homeschooling your children or even launching your own school? In my case, I think it'll take like 30% of my time in a couple of years to implement that project. But just like everything, I think I can cross pollinate it to various other areas and make it better. So hope you can check out Elon's at Astra. By the way, I learned that yesterday. Elon's my favorite entrepreneur. Most of you know that. I didn't know that he had his own school, and I'm not surprised. He probably has, 1,000 other pet projects sitting in the backlog, which is the creative genius' problem. Even today, it's Saturday. Told my wife I would clean my Trello, which has like 1,000 tasks item inside them, and I haven't progressed so far. And it's been an hour. So yeah, education, guys, the future of education, ed tech, and schooling your children. Think about it.